Ada, and I was the first computer programmer ever. I was born on the 10th of December, 1815, in a super rich family in London and lived with my governess, the servants, and a pet cat, Mrs. Puff, in a huge mansion in the countryside. My mom was a very famous social worker and was mostly away, but whenever she'd return home, I'd try my best to make the most of it. Mom, I made this drawing for you. Mom, I learned to ride a unicycle. Isn't it cool? Look, I can walk upside down. It was like everything I did was to impress Mom.
Ada, I don't want you wasting your time in these senseless things. Darling, you are made for greatness. I will have the best tutors in the world for you.
Mom was pretty bent on making me stop wasting my time, so she hired an army of tutors to teach me at home. I was being taught everything, from mathematics to astronomy, from literature to history. I was even learning French and Spanish. But I just couldn't sit through the lessons. They seemed so boring. Every time my teachers would start a topic, I'd want to go out and play, which I wasn't allowed to do because Mom had set all these rules for me to follow, a proper timetable, and even a meal plan. But then I found a way to make it work. I promised my teachers that I'd study if they gave me multiple breaks throughout the day, and they agreed. After every lesson, I'd go out and enjoy the weather, and it made learning fun for me. With the best teachers in all of England, I started to finally like studying, and my curiosity about things just kept growing. I'd lay my eyes on something and wanted to know how it worked. Why does the wind blow? If the earth is spinning, why don't we spin with it? Why aren't we dizzy? Where does the rain come from, and why is the rainbow always an arc? Why is it not a circle? One time, I wrote a poem about rainbows and read it to my mom. I thought I did a pretty good job, but Mom looked royally pissed.
Ada, what is all this? Poetry? I hate it. I am giving you this lavish life, far away from all the worries and troubles of the world, and you waste your time writing poems of all things? I hate poems. I'm going to get you new tutors. Looks like you have too much time to waste. Saying that, she went to her room where I was never allowed to enter because she always kept it locked. Mom thought I was some dumb kid who couldn't pick a lock and enter her room. As a matter of fact, I had known what she was hiding in that room right from the start. My dad. Actually, pictures of my dad. I had heard the servants often talk about him. My dad was a very famous poet. He was basically the first celebrity of England. He was sort of like a rock star of his time and had a massive fan following. People from far away would come to listen to his poetry, and that didn't sit well with my mom. My mom hated his work, and they'd argue so much that when I was just 2 months old, he moved away and never looked back. Mom didn't want me to be like him, and that was the reason she wanted me to always be super busy with studies. But Mom forgot I was my own person. Yeah, I had started to love science and mathematics, but I also loved something else that I don't think my mom ever experienced. Having fun. Like, everyone knows how fun it is to play in the mud and run like crazy in the rain, but for Mom, it was a big no-no. She would constantly be telling me to sit, stand, eat, and even breathe like a proper lady. One time, when I was about 12, we had a party at our place, and Mom made me wear the most uncomfortable dress ever. It was so tight that it just made me wonder how women could breathe in it. As everyone danced and enjoyed themselves, I just wanted to get some fresh air. So I went to the garden, and it was then that I saw it. A nest on a tree. It was about to fall. I quickly got into action and climbed the tree. Thank God Mom wasn't there. But then, out of nowhere, I heard her yell. Dear God, Ada, what in the world? You are wearing such an expensive dress. Ugh, it's ruined now. I held this party to introduce you to Augustus, the best math teacher in all of Britain, and this is how you behave?
But Mom, the little birdie's nest was about to fall. I had to fix it. This nest was more important than this stupid dress or anyone else.
You see, my lady, why I was refusing to tutor your daughter. Math, science, these are not the fields women should worry about. I suggest you teach her how to cook, clean, and yes, some manners too.
Saying that, the man left, and Mom, wow, she literally went berserk, and I got the lecture of a lifetime, and it was then that it happened. I felt a shooting pain in my head, and then everything turned dark. When I woke up, I was in my bed, and it turned out I had a headache called a migraine. I was put on bed rest for not just 1 or 2 days, but for a whole year. Just in the first week, I felt like I was gonna go crazy from boredom. I had solved tons and tons of puzzles, played all the board games in the house with the servants, read so many books, and I was still bored. But then one day I saw something amazing. The nest that I had saved had chicks. I was so happy. Over the coming weeks, I saw each chick one by one leaving the nest, and it was because of them that I fell in love with flying. I poured my heart into researching how to fly and called the subject flyology. I gathered supplies and even built wings. I so wanted to try them on and see if I could fly. But Mom, she thought it was a waste of time thinking about a machine that could never be made. In reality, if Mom could only see the world now. When I turned 14, Mom introduced me to my new teacher, Mary. She was a mathematics genius, and it was because of her that my love for the field of mathematics just grew. One time when Mary was done with her class, she forgot her advanced math book at my place. Since back in the day we didn't have TV or smartphones, I was just bored, so I started solving the equations. And the next week when Mary visited, she was stunned.
Who helped you? There is no way you did it yourself. This is practically the hardest math question.
Hardest? It was easy peasy. Hearing my answer, Mary went deep into thought, and when she visited me the next week, she had a gentleman with her who looked familiar. It was Augustus, the man who thought women couldn't do math, and now he wanted to be my teacher? But I didn't. I was about to tell him to leave, but couldn't because Mom was going all gaga over him. She really wanted him to be my tutor. So in the end, I agreed, but I made sure to push his buttons every now and then. So, I have a question. It's a math question, very hard.
You asked one silly question just 5 minutes ago. Fine, ask away.
Why can't a nose be 12 inches long?
What kind of question is this?
Because then it would be a foot.
But it was funny.
I guess I needed to cut Augustus some slack. He was a nice guy and taught me everything I needed to know about math. I know I was his favorite student. He never said it himself, but I did find his letters in Mom's drawer one time in which he told Mom that I had the potential to be one of the greatest mathematician minds in the world. One time when I was 17, Mom and I were invited to Mary's house for a ball. She was getting engaged, and to be honest, the party was boring. Like, there was no one I could talk to. All the girls my age wanted to talk about were boys, babies, and baking.
Oh my. Look at your 9 o'clock. No, 3 o'clock. That guy is totally checking you out.
Wave your fan. Say hi to him with your fan.
Sweet lady. You look so pretty tonight. My thoughts about you keep multiplying by 10. I hear you love numbers. So, how about we dance?
Cringe. I need something to eat. I feel like I'll faint if I don't eat something fast. Saying that, I hurried to the food table, and just as I grabbed the last donut, someone else took it. And when I saw who it was, I felt like a deer in the headlights. It was Charles Babbage, a science genius who had been building a giant calculating engine, or as you call it today, a computer. Oh my God, a big fan of your work. I was wondering if you could
dance? No, thank you.
What? No, not dance. I wanted to see your machine. I've heard so much about it. I want to work with you.
Work? With me? That's cute. Please excuse me.
What? Huh? Well, I was determined to see his invention, and when I told Mom, she pulled some strings, and Charles had to finally invite me to a showing of his machine, which was still not complete. The moment I laid my eyes on it, I was an absolute